Hi, Jewish Mom. So I want to talk this week. I want to explain to you why I did not make a pep talk last Sunday. There's no new pep talk last week, and I want to explain why because I thought it might be kind of an interesting topic to discuss. Um, so um, so last week, I have one of my daughters who's in high school. Decided that she wants to move to a new high school. So last week, I went with that daughter. We went to two different high schools in different cities. In Israel, it's very common for religious girls to go away to boarding school or partial boarding school for high school. So my daughter was looking at two boarding schools in two different cities. And so basically on Sunday and Tuesday morning last week, I was out looking at these different schools and having interviews for my daughter. And thank God she was accepted to the one that she really wanted, where we interviewed on Sunday, and she's going to be going there, Bezat Hashem, and so Baruch Hashem, good news. But last week it meant I had like a lot going on. Sunday and Tuesday morning I was out at the interviews and had to travel a long distance to get to them. And on Monday afternoon, then my most of my family, we went together to the wedding of the daughter of my husband's rabbi, and that was also outside of Jerusalem. And so Baruch Hashem was really wonderful. And just one side note I want to say has nothing to do with this pep talk, but something very sweet at the beginning of their chuppah. They're both very, I think both the Chatan and Kala, they both love poetry. So at the beginning of they're both kind of poetic types. So at the beginning of the chuppah, they read Tfilat Haderech, the Wayfarer's Prayer, just as kind of like starting out on life's journey together. And both of them are starting out on that life's journey a few years after the average Chatan and Kala in their society. So whatever, it was just a very, very beautiful moment seeing them, saying that prayer, starting out on this journey together. But so going back to the topic of this pep talk, so what happened? So last week, so I was feeling quite overwhelmed. I found like that my own personal things that I had to do with my family, helping my daughter find this high school and going to this very important wedding for our family, that it ended up leaving not enough time for all the things I need to do. For example, I need to go shopping. I needed to, cook something to eat for the family. I needed to, I need to make a pep talk. I need to do JewishMom.com. I had different things I had to do. So how did I decide what to do when I had a limited amount of time? So I've probably discussed this before, but I'm going to talk about it again because I think it's a very important topic. So Rabbi Niven talks a lot about Yud, about everyone having their own personal, unique life's mission. It's something that the Netivot Shalom discusses. The Slonim Rebbe, the Netivot Shalom, and so everyone has their own unique life mission. It's the kind of thing that you do, and that you were created with this specific gift. That when you do this thing that you were created for, it puts you on fire. It just makes you alive. You jump out of bed in the morning knowing that is what you're going to do. And Rabbi Niven, if you can ever do it, Rabbi Niven, when he starts his course, the first 5 weeks are it's like a free. It's I think that the first five classes are free, and this is figuring out what your yi'ud is in life is I believe the topic of those first 5 classes. So kedai to try it out. I think this next Elul he's going to be doing again, but so for me, my personal unique my own personal life's mission in life, I think you probably already figured this out, is JewishMom.com. And spending time on JewishMom.com, just knowing in the morning that I'm going to do it, that I'm going to have a certain amount of time during the day to work on JewishMom.com and reaching and inspiring Jewish mothers all around the world. It really inspires me, and I can do anything else during the day, and all the things that probably a lot of things over the course of the day I don't feel so incredibly excited about. But this, it makes me jump out of the bed knowing that I'm going to have time for this, okay? But, and I know other people. I have a friend who's a college teacher, who teaches brides before weddings, college teacher, and then that for her is her personal yud. I know someone else, she really loves mentoring people, and that's her yud. Some people it's teaching, some people it's maybe volunteering with the elderly, some people it's I know someone, she's a rebbetzin in a shul, and sort of a kind of, she has like her own spiritual way of conveying a certain kind of spirituality to others. That is her yud, okay, her own personal yud. So, but then each and every one of us, each and every Jewish mom, we have something called a global yud. That was your personal yud. This is your also, all of us have a global yud. The thing about our global yud is that for all of us, it's the same. All of us who are married and mothers, it's all the same. The global yud of a Jewish mother is to be a good and devoted mother, good and devoted wife, to serve Hashem, to perform the mitzvot, to be a good daughter, to keep the mitzvot and to daven and to, the things that every good Jewish woman and mother and wife should be doing. Okay, so the reason I'm discussing this is because I want to talk about what happens when there's a conflict between the two. When there's a conflict between this global yud, like the kind of just being a good Jewish wife and mother and daughter, and Ovedet Hashem and a server of Hashem, like just doing that, versus my own personal yud in life. Okay, so Rabbi Niven taught us that when there's a conflict between the two, when you don't have enough time to do both of these things in life, then the global yud always wins, right? You always, so last week when I didn't have enough time to do all the things that I need to do, it would have been tempting for me to be like, okay, this week my family's not going to eat. Okay, I'm not going to go with my daughter to the interviews. She can deal on her own. This week I'm not going to clean up. This week, whatever, I'm not going to go shopping. No, and I'm going to work on my blog instead. But no, the global yud always wins. It's always like it's like taking responsibility and being a responsible person over the personal yud. And the personal yud is very, very important. When we die at Mei Vesvim, we stand before the Beit Din, the Netivot Shalom says we are going to be asked, each and every one of us, whether we fulfilled our own personal yud. But when there's a conflict, the global yud, as it did last week, the global yud wins out. So last week, I went with my daughter to interviews, and I, made calls to various principals and filled out various forms and went to Xerox her report card multiple times, and I was a devoted Jewish mother of a child who wants to move to a new school, and Baruch Hashem, it seems as though it was quite a short-lived experience. I didn't especially enjoy having to spend so much. It was quite time-consuming. And thank God we're happy that things worked out as they did. But so when there is that conflict, then kind of like the humdrum responsibilities, basic responsibilities, they went out. And that was what happened last week. That was why I decided, okay, JewishMom.com is going on break for a few days. So that instead of the time instead of the time that I would have put into JewishMom.com, I'm going to spend it cleaning and cooking and shopping and Xeroxing my daughter's report card and going to interviews. Okay, and something else I want to talk about is something somewhat related. It's about, and I think again, this is a topic that I've discussed before, but I think it's a very important topic, so I want to bring it up again. So Rabbi Niven, he, in addition to the regular chabura, he gives kind of specialized intensive chaburas, and he's been giving one now on time management, and he's been talking about people, like he's been talking about how to make sure in your life that you are living and you are finding time for each and every one of your priorities. And a topic which I think is so important, and again, I think I've mentioned this before because it's so important. And it's something that Stephen Covey mentions a lot, is the importance of making time for things that are important but not urgent. So for those of you, like a refresher, I think probably I've discussed this before, but what does it mean, something that's important and urgent. So important and urgent things are things that happen several times a day. It's like, your daughter, your baby daughter has a dirty diaper, got to change it. That's important and urgent. Your husband's coming home soon, nothing to eat. Okay, make dinner. That's important and urgent. The phone's ringing. Oh, it's your daughter's school. Important and urgent. Answer it. But there's many, many things in life that are important and not urgent. And the problem is when we don't make time for those things, especially, and Rabbi Nevin was just talking last week about, the typical mother of young children. I think probably a lot of us watching this are mothers with a bunch of young kids in the house. It's very, very hard to find the time. It's very, very hard to find among all the things that are important and urgent when you're dealing with a house of small children, and even growing children, even older children. There's so many important and urgent things. It's hard to make the time for the things that are important and not urgent. Let me give you a few examples. So this morning I went to do a cholesterol test. So doing that is something, it's not urgent. I don't have, I'm not having like chest pains. I don't have any specific reason, but I know that, I'm reached a certain age, that I do have a history of cholesterol, high cholesterol in my family. And for the last 5 years, my doctor has been telling me I should be going to the cholesterol test. And so I decided, okay, this is something that's important and not urgent. And actually went and did it this morning. There's many other things like that. Things that are important and not urgent. For example, exercise. For example, taking care of financial matters, like I just had to deal with my U.S. taxes as I do every year. I just have to now deal with getting a discount for my Jerusalem property tax. These are things that are important but not necessarily so urgent. Or I just renewed my children's Israeli passports. It's true, it's getting urgent because we're flying in a month, so it's getting urgent, but it's not really, you can get them within, they come within a week, the passport. So it's not really urgent, but it's something that's important and not so urgent yet. Okay? What happens is when you don't deal with things, when you don't make time in your life for things that are important and not urgent, it creates life crises. Okay, so let's say that there's a person who's never making time to exercise. So then what's going to happen is so I know, for several months when we moved into our new house, I wasn't making time to exercise. I started getting back pains, for the first time in my life. And I realized, because I am not making because my body's falling apart because I'm not making any time to exercise. So a few months ago I started exercising again. And the back pain went away almost instantly. But that's the kind of this is just an example of what happens when you don't take care of the things that are important but not urgent. Then you start having life crises, which creates important and urgent situations. Or let's say with the passports, if I didn't go 2 weeks ago to get my kids' passports for a summer trip, then it would mean it'd be the last minute. I'd be like, oh my God, we never got the Israeli passports. Oh no, they're not going to let us out of the country. So again, if you don't take care of the important and not urgent thing, it becomes important and urgent and panicky, and you're constantly in life panic mode. And also with as I said, with the cholesterol, if I don't take care of every 6 months going to the dentist, and I do every 6 months I go to the dentist. If I don't take care of it, I know, and every 6 months going to a dental hygienist, then what's going to happen is there's going to be panic crisis, like a root canal. Okay, that's what happens when we don't take care of the things that are important and not urgent. So I just want to implore you, something that I do is that I give myself bribes to do the things that are important and not urgent. I find it very, very hard. As busy as I am, I'm as busy as all of us are. I find it very, very hard to take the time to do the things that are important and not urgent. So what I do is I bribe myself. There's certain things that are important and not urgent that I don't have to bribe myself, because they're things that I do every single day. For example, now for the last bunch of months, every day I exercise, so I don't have to bribe myself to do that. Every day I take about half an hour to do positive visualizations and relaxation, things like that. And that's something that's important and not urgent, but I do that every day, so I don't have to bribe myself. Or my dentist visits, I do that anyway, so I don't have to bribe myself. But there are certain things, for example, going to that cholesterol test, which is something that I've been trying to take care of for 5 years. Okay, so I decided, okay, I have like something called, I call it my chocolate milk list. They just made this new kind of chocolate milk. You might remember that I don't eat sugar. So they made a new kind of sugar-free chocolate milk made with stevia, so it's actually not so horribly unhealthy. And so it's my chocolate milk list, and I love chocolate milk. It's possibly my favorite. It's my favorite beverage. I can't say it's my favorite food. It's my favorite beverage. And so if I do one of these things on my list, and I have some other things that are on that list. For example, when we moved here, I lost all of my children's vaccination records. So one day I'm gonna have to go up into the attic up above here and look around all the boxes and try and find my kids' vaccination records and also social security cards. Those were the two important things I lost when we moved in here. So I'm going to say to myself, if I put in an hour doing that, then I'm going to it's on my chocolate milk list. Another thing I want to do is I would like to spend some time planning my parents' upcoming 50th anniversary. I have to be in touch with the resort with like sort of the retreat center, which is going to be hosting my family and my brother and sister's family for the anniversary. So when I do that, and when I get that organization organized and speak with them and do that, then I would, yeah, then I'm going to get myself a chocolate milk. It's like doing something that's important and not urgent, but it's very important. I really do want to take care of it. I do want to take care of it, but I'm so busy that if I don't bribe myself, if I don't bribe, as Rabbi Niven puts it, if I don't bribe my lower soul to get in touch with what my higher soul wants. My higher soul wants that. My higher soul wants to get things ready for my parents' 50th anniversary. I so want that. But my lower soul is like, no, I just want to rest and I have other things to do, and maybe I'll check my email again, and maybe I'll just, read another article in a magazine. I don't want to have to deal with it, No, chocolate milk. It's a way of bribing the lower soul to get in touch with what to get more in sync with what the higher soul wants. Okay, so in conclusion, so last week I had real life example of when there's a conflict between your personal yud and your global yud. And the personal yud is like the thing that each one of us has a personal life mission. It's your personal thing. Maybe it's like you're a college teacher, maybe you're a volunteer, maybe you like run your neighborhood women's association. It's something that like just doing it just makes you feel on fire. Like you jump out of bed you jump out of bed in the morning because you know you're going to be able to do that. So when there's a conflict between that and your global yud is like what every Jewish woman and mother has to do in terms of being a good wife, a good mother, a good daughter, a good Jew. Okay, when there's a conflict, as it was for me last week, global yud, the basic life responsibilities that we have, they win out. They take precedence. And also the importance, especially for us very, very busy mothers, it's so important to make the time, to set aside time, to schedule into our lives time for things that are important but not urgent. Because if we don't take care of the things that are important but not urgent, then they become important and urgent life panic crises. Don't do that. Take the time now to take care of your health, to relax, to exercise, to learn Torah. Do the things that are important but not urgent, so that we can keep on functioning well without the life crises. We don't want those. Okay. So with blessings for a Chag Sameach. I think I'm not going to be here next Sunday because we're all going to be in the middle of Shavuot. So with blessings for a wonderful, wonderful Chag Matan Torah.